The small apartment smelled faintly of boiled rice and baby powder. Sophia sat on the worn couch, cradling her 3-month-old son, Liam, as his cries filled the night. She tried bouncing him gently, humming softly, but nothing worked. His tiny fists flailed, his face flushed, and her heart ached knowing the cause. His little stomach rejected the cheap formula she'd been forced to buy. Sophia glanced at the kitchen counter, where the almost empty tin sat. She had stretched it as long as she could, cutting back on her own meals to make sure Liam never went hungry. But the formula was all wrong. It was harsh on his tummy, and he was suffering for it. Still, when your paycheck barely covered rent on a 1-bedroom apartment and bus fare to the cafe where you worked 12-hour shifts, there wasn't room for anything else. Her phone buzzed with an overdue bill reminder. Sophia let out a broken laugh. "I can't even afford proper formula," she whispered to Liam, brushing his soft brown hair back. "You deserve so much better." Tears burned her eyes as she opened her phone, searching for comfort. She typed a message to her friend Clara, the only person she ever confided in. "I don't know how much longer I can keep buying this cheap formula. Liam deserves better, but I can't afford it. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing him." She pressed send, not realizing through her trembling, sleep-deprived haze that she had selected the wrong name from her contacts. Instead of Clara, the message shot straight to Alexander Knight, her ex-boyfriend. The man she once loved fiercely. The billionaire CEO who had shattered her trust. And the man who had no idea he was Liam's father. The moment Sophia realized what she'd done, her blood ran cold. "No, no, no," she gasped, clutching her phone. She quickly deleted the message from her side, as though that could erase it from existence. Her chest tightened, panic rising. She hadn't spoken to Alexander in over a year, not since she walked away from his glittering world of wealth, boardrooms, and constant media attention. She had sworn she'd raise her son quietly, safely, away from the headlines that would devour them both. But her phone chimed again. "Bank alert. $1 million has been deposited into your account." Sophia's breath caught. She stared at the screen, her vision blurring. Then another message followed, this one unmistakable. "No more cheap formula. My son deserves the best. We need to talk." Her phone slipped from her hand. For a long moment, she simply stared at Liam, who had finally quieted in her arms, his tiny chest rising and falling. She kissed his forehead, her heart pounding in her ears. The next morning, Sophia stood on the sidewalk, clutching the strap of Liam's baby carrier so tightly her knuckles turned white. The towering glass skyscraper before her glimmered in the sunlight like something out of another world, Alexander's world. Just stepping into the lobby felt like crossing a line she had drawn for herself long ago. Her stomach twisted. She had almost returned the money. She had even typed a message telling him she didn't want his help. But she couldn't erase the truth. He knew now. And if Alexander Knight wanted answers, there was no running from him. Not anymore. Inside, the reception area was sleek, all marble floors and polished chrome. Employees in sharp suits glanced at her with curiosity, their eyes darting to the baby at her side. Sophia suddenly felt the weight of every wrinkle in her second-hand dress, every trace of exhaustion in her face. But when the elevator doors opened on the top floor, her breath caught. Alexander was waiting. He stood tall, dressed in a perfectly tailored navy suit, his presence commanding as ever. His dark hair was neatly styled, his jaw sharp, his piercing gray eyes locked on her. For a moment, Sophia saw the man she had loved once, the one who could light up her world with a single smile. But that warmth was gone now, replaced with something harder, something restrained. Still, when his gaze dropped to the baby carrier in her arms, everything about him shifted. The air between them grew thick, almost fragile. "Is he?" Alexander's voice faltered, a rare crack in his otherwise unshakable composure. He stepped closer, his eyes never leaving the small boy sleeping peacefully. "Is he mine?" Sophia's throat tightened. She wanted to shield Liam, to protect him from this moment. But lying was impossible now. With trembling lips, she whispered, "Yes." Alexander closed his eyes, drawing in a deep breath as though the truth both broke him and completed him all at once. When he opened them again, his eyes glistened, not with anger, but with something deeper. "You should have told me." His voice was rough, thick with restrained emotion. Do you know how many nights I lay awake, wondering why you left without a word? And all this time, my son was out there, and I didn't know." Tears blurred Sophia's vision. "I was scared," she admitted, her voice cracking. "I didn't want him growing up in a world where everything had a price. Where love was overshadowed by wealth and cameras and deals. I wanted him to have something pure, something real." Alexander stepped closer, his gaze softening as he reached down, almost hesitantly, to brush a finger against Liam's tiny hand. Instinctively, Liam's fingers curled around his, and for the first time, the billionaire's guarded expression shattered. His shoulders trembled as he whispered, "I missed his first cry. His first smile. His first everything." His grip tightened around the baby's hand. "But I won't miss another moment. Not if you let me in." Sophia's tears spilled over. "This isn't about money, Alex. I never wanted your billions. I just wanted him to feel loved." He looked at her then. Not as the man who had once broken her heart, not as the untouchable CEO the world saw, but as a father desperate for a second chance. "Love can't be bought," Alexander said firmly. "But protection, security, and a future, that's my responsibility. I can give him all of that. And I can give you something else, too, if you'll let me." Sophia's chest tightened. She wanted to believe him, to trust that this wasn't just guilt or pride. And when Liam stirred in his sleep, making a soft coo between them, she realized something she hadn't dared admit before. Her story with Alexander hadn't ended when she walked away. It was only just beginning. The secret she had guarded so fiercely, the truth of who Liam's father was, had just been ripped open. And there was no going back.